Good morning, coffee moaners, and welcome today to Coffee Moaning. If I was on television, that's how I would have to be today.
Well, you've just done it now as well.
Yeah, no, but they know that in a minute I'm going to be not like that. We call it in showbiz, fake it to make it. Dr. Red Light goes on. That's another one. That's another saying.
I have to say, a little bit of that goes on here. Otherwise, right now, I'd be lying on the floor moaning about my head, my knee, the state of the world, and just saying
to
everyone to
things up.
Fuck off.
Mark, you said it too early.
It doesn't do it anymore. It's fine. It's all good.
Oh, we can swear early.
Yes, say it.
Look at that weird curl down the middle of my head. It's like like when babies.
No, I'll tell you exactly what it's like. You look like an Oompa Loompa. Oompa Loompa, Oompa-dee-doo. I've got a funny wrinkle for you.
Go over there and do Oompa Loompa dance. Go on, Mark. No. We need something. We've got some heavy stuff to do. Go over there and be an Oompa Loompa. Come on.
Is it the...
Come on, everybody. Everybody do the Oompa Loompa. Go further away so we can see your legs.
Further. Is that the funny bit?
Further.
Hell, man.
We can't see your legs. Okay, go.
Oompa Loompa, Oompa-dee-doo. I've got a really large poo.
Oh! Yeah, we need a bit of something.
With your legs.
Let's have another little dance. Put a blast of some music on.
No, I don't want to get hot. I'm hot as it is. I'm hot to trot. Have you got the trots?
I think what we need to do today, and this is probably the same for a lot of people, is move more. Maybe go for a walk or a run or just jump up and down because it's just the world. First of all, we wake up day in, day out, and we've got that grey bloody sky.
Do a little bit.
I'm in a sweater.
Why?
Because it's winter.
Nads! Do Kate Bush. Kathy.
I forgot what I used to do.
Kathy!
It's me. No, didn't she have something?
Yeah.
Wasn't it this?
Acid.
No, she had this.
Mushrooms. A hose pipe.
Was it this?
Yes.
No, it wasn't.
No, that's running up that road.
That's running up that hill. That's running up that road. No, I think it was this. Wasn't it this I used to do? It's me, I'm Kathy, and I'm home. I'm so cold. I'm at your window.
That's brilliant. Doesn't work with the ringlet down the middle of your forehead.
I know, I look really weird. I don't know where that's come from. That's happened in the night.
It happened in the night.
As you can see, I haven't done a single thing with my hair or face.
Doffing your forelock.
That's literally so funny.
I'd be going, yes, Your Honour.
It's literally, there will be a cartoon somewhere of a baby with their
I feel like I can hang on to it.
No, don't be silly.
I want to swing on
Mark, now because you're going to make it fizzy. Stop it.
Fizzy?
Frizzy.
Oh, frizzy. Oh.
Annoying. Get back.
Why would it get? It's like a penis. It's like a lolloping penis over your forehead.
It's like a pig penis. But anyway, carrying on.
Penis?
I don't know. I meant the tail, I think.
Thursday took a turn, says Stephanie. Okay, we're going to talk about some serious shit, and it's depressing shit, and it's really fucking annoying shit, and it's just like shit.
No, that's enough. You always go too far. It's so annoying. I think we should explain this to the people on podcast now.
It's the upward turn of the fart at the end. This is my cup of tea.
So for people on podcast, that was a very funny video of toddlers, shocked, horrified faces as their mums let off the fart machine, and the terror, the way they're frozen to the spot is just so damn cute.
I want to ask you a killer question.
Okay.
All right, you ready for it?
Yeah.
Have you ever surprised yourself?
No, stop. We're not doing this.
We just did farts.
Of course I have. Everyone surprised themselves.
But how much?
Oh, no. We're being silly. Oh, look. There's a hurricane now. We better put the umbrellas down.
How much were you surprised by it? Because it's the upward lilt, isn't it? I have to confess, I was shocked, horrified and amazed by the length of 1 year ago.
Let's go.
All right,
Move on.
what have you done? Why have you just... You're
No, because
right.
there was just another funny one that I
Lee
wanted to-
Durrant's just gifted 5 memberships.
Oh, that's kind of
bless
really-
you. It's a
thank
live
you.
No Name Sunday show this weekend.
Thank you.
The winner of the book from the Curly
Very
Cooks
sweet.
is going to be announced and posted beneath the original film. So that will be happening later today, won't it? And that's the Malise. I always want to call her Malise Cooks, but it's the Malise Berg. Is that her name? Berg cookbook that you're going to win. So Lee, very kind. So yes, you've got a live Sunday
Thank
show
you,
landing this
Lee.
weekend. And if you've become a member just now, do head over to the Sunday show playlist and you'll be able to watch a whole cornucopia of lovely food, funny shit, nanny dye books, and all sorts of things. So what we're going to talk about today, unfortunately, I couldn't bring myself to write his name down in the title, so I simply described it as a War Criminals Congress speech.
Good one.
Yeah, I mean, contentious? Not really. Shouldn't be. It's fact. We're going to talk about Amanda Abbington. She gave an interview to Channel 4. Was she right to? Was she wrong to? Has she put any meat on the bones of what's going on with the Strictly controversy and drama? Or has she made the matters potentially worse for herself? And we're going to briefly touch upon the awful footage that I couldn't even believe I was watching yesterday with the Manchester police arrest, violence, kicking that happened at the airport, which is so staggeringly shocking. And as shocking, and I'm pleased that you mentioned it again today, because there was also a clip yesterday, which I haven't got, which I'm not going to show. And when we show the clip of Manchester, it has already been blurred. So just so that you know, there isn't going to be the absolute sort of, I mean, you get a sense of it, but you don't get the acute, visceral sense of it. But also there was the appalling story yesterday, I think, was it in Illinois, of a woman, a black woman who called the police for help. She was
fear of an intruder.
She was struggling. I think she was a sufferer of schizophrenia. I think she had some mental health condition as well, and she was shot in the head by the police.
It's just the most horrific.
Just the most astonishing footage. It's Edward Bevington. It's okay. They'll investigate themselves. Manchester. Yes. Now.
It's the way of the world at the moment.
Absolutely. Now, I want to start with, because he always homes in on the right. He does a great sort of sub-clipping sort of job, really. Danny fucking Price.
And we talk about him a lot. Follow him on Instagram.
Please
he really
do.
is. I love him.
Yeah, and this is kind of what he posted this morning on his feed. Benjamin Netanyahu obviously was in Washington addressing Congress. A lot has been made of the fact that Kamala Harris, Biden, and various others, Nancy Pelosi, weren't there. A lot of politicians weren't at the talk or the speech.
And there was huge demonstrations going on outside, and other meetings, counter meetings with Democrats that had refused to go. There's a good article written by Zetio News today. Follow them, Zetio and Mehdi Hassan. They're both great, really good sources. Just talking about how you could see so clearly that split between, what's going on inside there and what's going on now
Absolutely.
for a lot of people.
Yeah, can I just...
Yeah, shall I come over?
Yeah, because I'm just trying to get you in the non-blurry bit. And also, go to Greg J. Stoker as well, his account. Quite astonishing footage. He gets pepper sprayed 3 times in the face whilst being in what looks like he's in a sort of press huddle. I mean, it's a curious footage. It's really quite, I mean, for all the wrong reasons, watchable. But the extent of the protests that probably haven't even been reported on American TV are quite astonishing. But let's play this by Danny fucking Price.
How many terrorists did you take out in Rafah? He gave me an exact number, 1,203. I asked him, how many civilians were killed?
Okay.
He said, Prime Minister, practically none. With the exception of a single incident where shrapnel from a bomb hit a Hamas weapons depot and unintentionally killed 24 people. The answer is practically none. You want to know why? Because Israel got the civilians out of harm's way, something people said we could never do, but we did it.
Wow. Shame on you all.
Basically, he came along to Capitol Hill, and he just spun a web of lies. I mean, it's the most astonishing litany of propaganda and untruths. And he stood there and actually dared to suggest that anyone who was protesting outside was possibly being funded by Iran. So he conflated any humanitarian support of the Palestinians with a support of Iranian kind of terrorism. I mean, the guy is quite unfathomably delusional.
But do you think that the delusion was so clear to see as to his lies were he overdid it. He overdid it so much that I think even some people that still believe, would have believed him might now be going, God, I mean, he's just whitewashed the whole damn thing.
Well, okay. Well, look, The Guardian. I'm just going to play you in The Guardian have done a really neat kind of 2-minute sort of précis of some of the protests. It's quite illustrative footage.
Stop bombing Gaza now!
So we're watching Benjamin Netanyahu. He's coming in. He's going to be speaking in a minute. I just wanted to find where he's actually.
Members of Congress, I now have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you His Excellency Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. Thank you.
The day after we defeat Hamas, a new Gaza can emerge. My vision for that day is of a demilitarized and de-radicalized Gaza. Israel does not seek to resettle Gaza, but for the foreseeable future, we must retain overriding security control there to prevent the resurgence of terror, to ensure that Gaza never again poses a threat to Israel.
So hang on. So for the foreseeable future, we have to maintain control of Gaza. Everything he's done, everything that their assault has done, has created the inevitability of stronger resistance, the inevitability of more resentment. More and more Arab leaders, even though we have ourselves been outspoken about the fact that many Arab nations have done very, very little. They've and yes, they're compromised by financial limitations by America. Believe me, America behind the scenes aren't just controlling Israel, but they are controlling the Arab nations too, with huge economic threats and sanctions, etc. And we need to be careful, because this is why Mahmoud Abbas and Fatah and the Palestinian Authority, this is why China have managed to negotiate some kind of agreement or unity agreement between the various factions of authority in Palestine. This is why more and more countries will turn to alternate sources and routes for, in a sense, for their own rightly, because Palestinians have no nation, self-serving,
and have no one protecting
survival. If you have no one, protecting you, you will turn to the next hand.
Nature.
And I have a horrible feeling, and I think it doesn't take a genius to make this kind of connection, that Israel and America and the West absolutely know this. The more they can almost align Hamas and the plight of the Palestinians with the kind of the villains of the world, the more they can get people on board with the idea that Israel is fighting.
America and Israel, everyone else is the villain of the world, because they are the perfect, most moral,
absolutely,
the highest standards of humanity.
And this is where my fears come in for Kamala Harris. Yes, Kamala. Let's all say, Kamala Harris for me is a little bit like the Labour Party. So much of what she could bring to America and what she represents and could be is brilliant. Women's rights, fertility rights, etc., etc. But then when it comes to Israel and the Middle East, I worry that what we're going to start to see now is this ratcheting up of blowing up the kind of entire Iranian, turning it into a global thing. And as the players start to shift around through necessity, if we had humanitarian aid going in, and Netanyahu claimed in his speech that they hadn't prevented humanitarian aid. He claimed
You
that the
can watch
international
videos
court...
all day long of those trucks and all these incredible charitable organisations begging and pleading and saying we are not allowed to bring food in. America had to. How many millions did they spend on that ridiculous pier?
Well, it ended up being,
because
I think,
they couldn't
two-thirds of $1 billion.
because they couldn't talk Israel into letting the
Hang
trucks
on,
just
hang on.
come in through the bloody gate.
But the major purpose
How
that
can they
pier
afford that?
served was in the getting American troops in there to issue the hostage rescue. The pretense that it was there for humanitarian aid is absolute nonsense. And it's just the whole unedifying experience of watching this man applauded. Now, what's really interesting, and apparently reports are coming through that, like at the Oscars, when people stand up, they put people in their seats. There were so many more gaps to be seen in Congress. They filled them with people. They put warm props in the seats to applaud.
But those warm props still stood up and applauded. Shame on them. They're a part of it now.
But they're probably
You're all going to be in the
people.
photographs when history looks back and says who played a part in this genocide. Every one of those faces is going to be seen. I just want to talk about this woman. I don't give that man. I don't want to hear another word of what he said. His lies. And I can't bear to watch that applause for one more second. It's a disgrace. But this lone Palestinian woman who sat
Rashida Tlaib.
In the early days, you may remember she gave an impassioned plea, didn't she? She was incredible in Congress and she was just ignored and shuffled out. It was just disgusting. Yeah. But she sat there in silence. Remember that we did tell you a few days ago that they had threatened that anyone that interrupted him would be arrested. And she sat silently and she had this paddle. On one side it said guilty of genocide and the other side it had war criminal. Imagine what that was like, just to sit there.
I know.
And she said afterwards, she said, the Palestinian people feel invisible. I was not going to just sit there and be invisible. And she had to be silent. And I just found that so moving. Just this lone woman sitting there. She will become... You watch her name. People will, in the future, her name will be known. This photograph will be known. Never mind Trump's iconic moment with the blue sky and the fluttering American flag.
Yeah.
For her, she for me is. Yeah. She must have gone home
heartbroken. I'd have thought.
Have to sit there and listen to that.
Well, and listen to
the denial of all of it.
But the applause, I mean, admittedly, it was a majority Republican household. Now, we're all kind of going, oh, brilliant, Kamala Harris didn't turn up. Nancy Pelosi didn't turn up. There was an awkward moment between even Chuck Schumer and as Netanyahu passed him. Chuck Schumer had been kind of critical of Netanyahu, though he's not critical of the overall kind of, if you like, Israeli kind of mission, if you like. But it was just interesting. So it's interesting that Kamala Harris is meeting, as is Biden, with what's his face, Netanyahu today, and Trump is meeting him tomorrow. So this idea that they're not going to cozy up. We're yet to see that, and it's tricky. They're in a tricky situation because I would argue that probably the vast majority of young Americans, young democratic Americans, are entirely against Netanyahu. I mean, 3/4 of Netanyahu's population, Israeli population, want him out. They want him out. And so, on previous occasions when Netanyahu has done this, why has he done this? This is all about trying to improve his own popularity at home. It's also about trying to garner the support and make sure that Trump gets in. For a fact, even if we can be critical of how Kamala Harris is going to be, do you mind? Even if we can admittedly be critical of how Kamala Harris is going to be sort of, if you like, appeasing of Israel, she has to be a better prospect than Trump. As you rightly say, MeTube, the land grab that's already happened is quite shocking. Apparently, this is an interesting statistic. The Israeli military now have taken over 26 or occupy and control 26% of the Gaza Strip. 26% is how much the Israeli military have now taken under control of the Gaza Strip. Did you know that? Yeah. That already 26% of the Gaza Strip has gone. So of that tiny landmass, 26, this is, and this one, if we think that's going back, it's not going back to the Gaza. So the whole conflict has resulted in a quarter of the Gaza Strip coming under direct
And don't
Israeli
forget when
control.
he says, oh no, we are so moral, we have tried to save civilians like no other army. They get an hour, a phone call, and then they have to move. I saw videos yesterday of them charging, children falling over rocks crying because they've been given an hour to move, and then they start bombing. So basically they're bombing them all the way down the Gaza Strip to get them into a nasty little corner where then they can bomb them. Then they displace them again. They move them. As I keep saying, some people have been displaced 10 times. Imagine that, you've not got a single one of your things. Imagine now just going out, you're taking your baby and your toddler and your 9-year-old just out for the day, and you leave your bag on the bus. Oh my God, the drama, I've left my bag, I haven't got any of the stuff that they haven't got their bottle, I haven't got their dum-dum, I haven't got their nappies that they like, I haven't got. Imagine that these people are running over and over again with not a single thing. But he is doing more than any army is before. And do you know what? He's right. Because the level of torture that they're putting those people through, to the point where on a daily basis, I see children saying, I want to die because I can't do this anymore. Really young children. You ever heard of 5- and 6-year-olds saying, I want to die?
No.
And they stood and they applauded him over and over again with that lone woman sitting there with her paddle. That's what the world feels like at the moment, doesn't it? When you look out.
Me too. That's a great graphic kind of example comparatively, just talking about the land grab that Israel have already made. You know, if they were to stop the war tomorrow, if they were to even sort of say, right, we're going to hold on to what we're holding on to, or the occupation, even if they hold on to what they hold on to, they've successfully taken a quarter of Gaza.
Very successful. They're getting everything
they want. And Michu says that's like someone claiming Catford in the Lewisham to Croydon corridor.
Beautiful put.
Yeah, well put. Yeah, for any Londoner.
You know, they're succeeding. They've raised it to the ground, so they will remove the rubble, and this is what they're hoping. And then they're going to build, and they're going to build their holiday homes and their beach homes. They're going to take the oil and the gas and. Just watch.
Now, when we talked about it yesterday, when Trump gets in, and I think unfortunately he is still going to get in, the deal that he struck with one of his largest donors, as we discussed yesterday and we've discussed before, is to essentially annex the West Bank. He gave Israel, he allowed Israel to take the Golan Heights, which is a disputed land again. And there's certain farmlands as well between Lebanon and Israel that are occupied too. And so the conflict between Lebanon or the Hezbollah and the South Lebanon and Israel is also about occupied land. So it's not simply a straightforward case of, terrorists attacking and displacing Israelis. These are disputed territories. These are disputed territories that are illegally taken and occupied. The ICJ has now declared that the Israeli, settlers and occupation is illegal.
And not only that, they should pay reparation to the Palestinians.
Now, I just want to play in this woman that you showed me earlier, who's astonishing. I forget her name, but she was in an interview and she's talking. She's incredibly forthright and incredibly articulate.
Probably people won't know her name.
Shall I get it before I pop it up, or shall I?
I'll get her name. You do.
Going to be sitting next to him and applauding, which is a big deal and a pivot from others. But it's a low bar.
Yes.
Kamala Harris, and I've been actually trying to reach out to her team for a long time, since May last year, trying to explain that we need to pivot from this unconditional support, which is in defiance, in violation of America's Leahy law and international law. She is running on the fact of being prosecutor, of an official of law and order, of the women who stand for legality. You cannot stand for legality and give a pass to a war criminal. You cannot claim that you're defending international humanitarian law and rule-based international order and then ignore what Netanyahu, Ben-Gvir, and Smotrich, the crimes they are committing, and stand accused of committing before the highest courts in the world, the ICC and the ICJ. One of the two things. You cannot be saying that, Israel has the exception and exceptionalize Israel and then attack Trump and say, well, he doesn't believe in international legality. Well, either you share his values and his talking points about Israel legality and exceptionalism, or you don't. And if you want to win voters, progressive young voters, activists, you have to pivot from Biden failed policy. And I am sorry to say it. I think Netanyahu meddled way too much in American policy. The Obama nuclear deal, the Iraq war, which was a catastrophe for America. And again, he is pro-Trump and pro-Putin, as we saw in billboard all across Israel during the election campaign. If you don't want to be on that side, you have to come out very clearly, not pro-Palestinian or advocating for Palestinian, advocating for international law and international legality. That's what will make a huge difference.
She's Rula Jabril. She's a Palestinian journalist.
That point there. Okay, so if you struggle for whatever reason to get on board with the fighting for the rights of Palestinians, fighting for the rights of, them to have their own nation and not to be occupied and not to have settlers, if you have somehow have an issue with that, fight for the consistency of international law. And this is a really good point that she makes. Kamala Harris is going to. How can she pull Trump down as a felon? A man who flaunts and laughs in the face of any law, forget domestic law. But but a guy who's flaunting every sort of issue of international and humanitarian law.
Absolutely floodlights the hypocrisy that America feeds us all the time. That's why here we are. We're all so perfect. We're all as white as snow.
And again,
and then at the same time supporting the most terrible act across the world.
Me too. It's not meddled. You're right. She uses the word meddled in American politics. She's black. He's blackmailed. Unfortunately, the AIPAC and the Israeli lobby has blackmailed America. They are, we all of us are running around like mad. Go and check out the film Reality, in which Sydney Sweeney plays an FBI whistleblower in the Trump administration.
That film.
And that was about Russian interference in the election. Everyone's getting like, wow, yeah, quite rightly so. No other nation should be interfering in any other nation's electoral process.
Macron's gone nuts at Netanyahu for interfering in their election.
In the French election. But it seems to be that it's okay if it's Israel. This is, and
but Israel has interfered with the French election, didn't?
That's what I'm saying. But Israel is also
dared to criticize.
Yeah, but that's being. But what I'm trying to say is the interference isn't hidden. The interference is there because they are paying our lobbyists to pressure every government in the West. I mean, it's so staggeringly obvious. And just finally, sort of. On the whole thing that we've said many times, the reason this is and should be of interest to us all on a domestic basis,
millions, we are Palestinians.
Is that you can already hear, we are about to witness an immense fracturing of the framework of diplomatic kind of governance around the world. Most countries that we in the West have characterized as evil are turning to other places for kind of, alliances. We, who are like pretending we are so sort of holier than thou and purer than white, have been seen to be selective in our application of humanitarian law, totally jaundiced, unfortunately a hangover from our colonialist and imperialist pasts. And that is gonna bite us all on the arse. Because you can't stand in any of these organizations, the UN or anywhere, and claim anything of anyone based on solely the way in which we have been so hypocritical about this. And just finally, Starmer, in his first Prime Minister's questions, once again, this is unforgivable, only spoke of Israel's right to security and didn't name or identify or speak to the individuals that have lost their lives and their relatives. It's anyway. So there you go. I'm not going to show you anymore. We've got a few other clips there. So we're going to move on to just quickly Amanda Abbington.
Who's seen this interview? Has anybody seen the interview with Amanda? We haven't seen the entire interview. It's very long, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little sub clip here. Do you want me to pop it up?
Yeah.
Brutal and relentless and unforgiving.
When you say it's been brutal and forgiving, I think we need to unpack that a little bit about what has been brutal.
Well, the aftermath has been something that I wasn't expecting. The death threats and the rape threats towards not only myself but my daughter, and the threats of death to my son.
By what? By Strictly fans or?
And Giovanni fans, and it's just been, when you get like one or two of those, you can kind of go, oh God, But I was getting like dozens a day on social, like dozens. of people just saying, just go and kill yourself. I hope you die of cancer. I hope, just kill yourself. Your kids will be better off without you as a mother. I hope your daughter gets raped. I hope your son gets stabbed. You don't deserve any good things for what you've done. How could you destroy something like Strictly? You're a snowflake, you're an idiot, you're stupid. Poor Giovanni. It was just all the time. Allowing people to be able to go and complain, that's the other thing, being able to go, not even complain, to voice your concerns if you feel like you're being bullied or you feel like this situation that you're in feels toxic and unsafe. Having the courage to go and say something is so important, and we are not cultivating that environment. We are making out that women who women who voice their concerns about a situation are trolls through the press, sent death threats, rape threats, and not taken seriously. Now,
often by women.
Yeah. What I experienced in that room happened. I know it happened because it happened to me. And I am not a sensational person. I'm not hysterical. I don't make things out to be bigger than they are. I know what happened to me in that room wasn't acceptable. I complained about it and sort of have not been taken seriously. Not only me, 3 other women, and more potentially coming forward. We have to cultivate a society and an environment where women can come forward and say, yeah, or men, because it happens to men as well, I'm finding this uncomfortable. Can you do something about it? And then something be done about it.
I mean,
well, I absolutely agree.
Entirely
with that.
agree.
I mean, we had some friends round the other day, and their daughter had been working on a job. Now, it was nothing sexual, but she was totally being bullied. I mean, there's just no two ways. And in fact, our friend witnessed it. She saw it happening to her own daughter. And I was sort of surprised by all of us, because all of our conversation went to, well, I mean, God, I suppose she's so young. We can't make a complaint. She can't make a complaint because this will happen and that will happen and this will happen and that will happen. And it's like we do not have a culture where you can make a complaint often and feel heard and then something is done. Because it's exactly like school. I'm not talking about Giovanni and Amanda in this way, because I don't know. I don't know what happened. But what I do know is I've been in multiple situations. I've witnessed multiple situations, either at work or in schools, with either our kids or our friends' kids, and nothing is done. 9 times out of 10. Even my own, somebody very, very close to me who left a job that she loved because she was being consistently bullied every single day. And how often did we all talk about it, Mark? Yeah, you can't do anything because you will lose your job.
Can I just ask, why does it feel like Amanda Abbington more than anyone else? Zoe asked a good question. Notice how Amanda isn't believed, but Zara is. Very strange.
It's very interesting that you say that,
Why
Zoe.
is there this sort of characterization? Because if I'm honest, I'm just going to be sort of like, I'm just going to speak as I see it, because I'm not invested in it. I am invested in the fact that no one should be...
Can I just say something just quickly? Because I'm wondering if Zoe was saying that from that article in the Mirror, where people have been graded by how they can be believed, and it is the most disgusting article.
Really?
Yeah,
Graded.
Like you're getting grades. So
believability score.
Yeah, so like Amy is at the top with Zara has got a number 5, right? And the reason Zara it's the article that
I haven't got the article.
Okay, sorry.
It's the one. I've got the one with the 6 bombshell claims. That's the one I've got.
Yeah, that's the one. And are you referring to that, Zoe? Because I was a bit like, oh, okay. So Zara can be believed because she didn't say anything initially. Here we go.
Neem, I can't really pronounce your name, sorry, Neve, I think because Zara's partner was fired straight away, whereas Giovanni is under investigation. I don't know. I suppose the thing I just wanted to quickly say whilst you find that, it's weird. I do find, a lot of people feel very powerfully about this, very strongly about this. I feel that, and this must speak to why Amanda, more than anyone else, has received so much hostility. Isn't it odd? Isn't it odd that he should ask the question? or feel the need to ask the question or clarify that, is this abuse coming, what a weird question, is this vile, threatening, violent abuse coming from Strictly fans? Is that really, is that what a fan of a program, I think YouTube, you kind of indicated this, can you really be that sort of supportive more of a program than you can of anyone's experience within it? This is the odd thing about the whole, this argument of the toughness of professionalism is part of the kind of gig, the prioritizing of the show must go on. And then hang on a minute, none of it is important compared to what someone's going through. And it feels like Amanda Abbington has been consistently marginalized as mad, bad, and slightly irrational.
She's upset. And the thing is, I don't think these are Strictly fans. I think these are people that don't like other people, that are jealous of people. Yeah. She's smart, she's bright, she's successful, she's strong. And what do people hate more than anything is a difficult woman. She's an older woman. Zara is seen as a young, beautiful girl that didn't say anything, but then the BBC called her in. Do you see what I mean? She didn't. And I love Zara, but I think that's the distinction people are drawing. I mean, Katie Hind, here it is. This is what I was wondering if you were referring to, Zoe. It's just disgusting. What kind of person?
So the Mail has a believability radar.
A believability radar.
Wow, okay, that's interesting.
And Zara gets a full mark. She gets 5 out of 5. Scandal factor.
Scandal factor. I
mean, it's just disgusting.
My slight concern with all of this is, of course, a little bit like a jumper that unravels. I wonder something. What was also said in the interview is that there are 50 hours of footage within which she says that footage is there to be looked at. And if you looked at it, it would be self-evident what she's talking about. I think a lot of people have got frustrated or feel frustration or are suspicious of the fact that she hasn't put specifics on it. Whereas I suppose Zara, there's the kicking is there and there's the spitting. I think there's those 2 clips. Lots of other clips of dancers doing things which some have said are, illustrative of a toxic work culture, which were even shown as just normal clips on the secondary show that used to be on BBC Two about 6:30.
I was reading one that Jordan said, "I'll kick you and I'll drag you across the floor."
And that was
dead.
shown. That was shown.
On take 2.
Now, can I just say, I did say this at the weekend, and I do think there is an element of this. I think the reason this is becoming even bigger by the minute, you've got lots of sort of split loyalties. You've got the experience of people on the show, many of whom have come from they're all showbiz people, so they know that there's that sort of weird aspect of showbiz. You've then got dancers coming from an incredibly competitive, alternate world, but then you've got the other component, which I think could speak to why things are moving slowly and things are getting a bit ambiguous. And that is a program with producers who will know that they will have had to heighten that experience to get the drama. So James Jordan, is that one of the dancers? He made a point.
He got sacked.
I'm not defending him at all, but he did make a point, which I think is going to be a difficult one to kind of define and get away from for the producers, which is, and I think it's an interesting point, and I know this from having worked again on programs where this is what producers want and do. He said, you've got to understand some of these clips that do look now after 10, 15 years out of context, look awful or brutal. He said we were being asked to play panto villains sometimes.
Yes, he was.
They
were. There was.
And I think therein lies a really murky area.
We've had him on the show a number of times, and he literally plays up to this. But that also sometimes within showbiz is used so that people can behave however they want.
Totally agree.
Because I've seen that many times as well.
Agree.
Oh yeah, I'm just so bad. I'm just so well. Actually, you really are, and an audience will applaud and laugh and think it's all very funny. But actually, they actually are that.
So my worry, if I'm really honest about what I worry, and this is purely personal, this isn't Nadia's opinion. My personal opinion on the my personal opinion on the Amanda Abbington situation is this: I've got a horrible feeling that she's being hung out to dry. There's a knowledge that she's been characterized as unhinged and hysterical.
Like women always are.
But her more so than anyone else. And I think that they're allowing the feeding frenzy to happen by doing nothing, because it feels like everything's going slow.
And when they say, so often it's women that attack. Zara is a sweet young girl. Amanda is an older woman who's like obviously a bit hysterical, like she stubbed her toe. Like again here, Katie said, well, she had a bruised toe. Well, she's not talking that much about her bruised toe. Obviously, she's a very, very smart woman. I did that quiz with her. My God, she's got the fastest brain ever. I was like, oh my God. And she's very like, bam, bam, bam. Her brain is like, I just don't think she's going to sit there and say there's 50 hours of video and just grab that out of the air, not thinking for 1 minute. And the thing is, the BBC keeps saying, well, the reason they're not showing the video is they're going through a proper review, which I respect. Okay, they've got to say that, but they will have to show those videos, because if they refuse to in the future, for me, it's going to be like, all right, okay. I understand they're saying at the moment there's a proper review process, but how often are we satisfied with proper review process?
And just finally, because it's in the title and we said we would talk about it, just the Manchester police kicking. If anyone hasn't seen this footage,
God, don't watch it. If you're
don't watch it. It is blurred, but this is some of the footage. It's still horrendous footage that was released yesterday.
Oh, it's totally blurred.
So he's done it.
Stop kicking people!
It's like I said to Mark.
There's a blurring now. I mean, that
when they do this, knowing they're on camera, what are they doing when they are not being filmed? That's what petrifies me. And it's Nick Ferrari was saying this morning on the radio, wasn't it? One of the female police officers did have a broken nose, so therefore he got what he deserves. No, we do not live in a police state where police are trial and jury and then mete out the punishment. They have been trained on how to control a person.
Nick Ferrari was a really good. He's a good bellwether on this, because he's very sort of conservative, and as he says, he's always championing the difficult road that police have to. If anyone's going to err on the side of siding with the police, it's going to be someone like Nick Ferrari. What?
The police gives the police a lot of trouble. I'm telling you,
trouble. But on this one, like he said, you had a number of police officers there. There is, when someone's on the ground, that is not the point you kick them in the head and stamp on their head. I don't think you ever
kick them in the head unless your life is
absolutely don't.
If your life is at risk, yes, you're going to do anything. Pull their eyeballs out, whatever. I get it. But there was a lot of police there. He was on the floor and it was blurred out. But I am telling you, full force to stamp on his head. And I just think any human being that can do that to another human being is unspeakable.
He has been withdrawn. He has been sort of shelved, or what's it called? Suspended. The officer. There are protests outside in Rochdale or at the police station.
Let's hope it doesn't set off a whole load
This
of
could
riots.
ignite something massive,
really
and it's really,
bad.
really tricky. And also, just weirdly, it is odd that they're filming these things with these chest cams. And again, going back to the awful incident of the black woman who was killed in America, because allegedly she had gone to turn off the hot water. She'd called the police to her place. She'd gone to turn off the hot water.
She had a pan bubbling.
She had a pan bubbling. And the guy was telling her to put the pan down. It didn't look at the footage. It doesn't look like she's threatening anyone. And once he'd shot her fully in the head, he shot her in the head, and she was on the floor. You hear him on the camera start to clearly retrofit the evidence by saying, well, that hot water was going to be thrown at me. If it's my face or her life, it's my face. And you can kind of, it does speak to, if this is what they're willing to, what we see when they, on camera, what the hell is going on when they're off camera?
Sonia Massey. Sorry, I had to get her name. Sonia Massey was her name.
The woman who was killed in America.
And the thing is, I haven't watched the video, but my friend Judy told me, because I said, tell me it. And she told me the whole story.
Sonia Massey, yeah.
I couldn't watch it. She told me the whole story, and she just told me it. And I was just like horrified. One of the policemen turned off his camera, but the other one, I think, didn't realise his camera was on. And then when they called for the other police, apparently it all kicked up. It's like, what have you done?
What the hell
says, what have you done?
And they start to retrofit the idea that she was about to threaten. He asked her to turn off the hot water because they didn't want it to sort of overbubble. But she was busily getting her driving licence before that on the floor, and she'd called them. Yes, she was struggling with a schizophrenic sort of illness. There was no weaponry. There was no direct threat to life. And she had called them because she was worried there was an intruder.
And my friend was saying, she said when they walked through the door, she said you can almost see in her face that she felt something enforced. And she goes, please, she says, I'm sorry, don't hurt me or something. When they first came in, she was really vulnerable. And that's why we have to keep on. I mean, thank God for videos, huh?
This is it. Well, it's less thank God for videos, but thank God for where it gets shown and spread, and we see it and we get.
But also the worry is that we get desensitized, because when organizations keep investigating themselves and nothing happens, what happens is people get demotivated. They go, oh, well, it'll be another investigation, which is what we do all the time now in Gaza. Oh, well, okay, the Israeli army will be investigating the Israeli army.
Absolutely. And Gemma Perry, just briefly, yes, we did. I talked about it yesterday, the soldier who was tragically stabbed in Gillingham yesterday. Yeah, awful. Okay,
Tomorrow,
guys, we're going to try and err on the side of a lighter touch.
Tomorrow, I think we might, unless there's some huge news, I think tomorrow we should do a bit of a nostalgia show. What do you think? Would you like that? We've been thinking around doing something like nostalgia around summer holidays when we were kids and we didn't go anywhere and the weather would be terrible and we'd have to find things, something around that. Do you fancy that? Just say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes.
And if whilst you're answering yes, no, let's just try and cheer ourselves up once again with this.
Nice. She's trying to decide if she should be home.
It's the little upward inflection in the fart that always gets them.
So much.
Everyone's saying yes.
Yes, should we do nostalgia?
Happy coffee moaning tomorrow.
Let's do a happy coffee moaning. Let's do nostalgia. Let's break free from the world at the moment, and we'll do something nostalgic.
Hashtag fuck off Friday. That's what it'll be.
Maybe we'll just do random nostalgia from different eras, 80s. 90s,
Ashley, you're
70s.
absolutely right. The second one there is thinking, was that me or was that you? Nadia has that all the time. Was that me or was that the dog? All right, guys, we're going to head off.
We love you.
Lots of love.
See you tomorrow for some fun.
Have a good day.